Hello and welcome. You are tuned into Revision Hub with Jazzy J. I'll be continuing to look at education, AQA Sociology. Last video, we looked at the key perspectives of education, from feminists to Marxists, etc. Before we continue, on paper or flashcards, quickly jot down what you remember from our last video. You'll only know this if you've revised, rested, tested, and repeated yourself on the content of the video. Supposedly, if you do not remember it, please feel free to go back to my playlist where you'll find all my videos clearly signposted to you. In this video, we're looking at material deprivation, cultural deprivation, and labelling. Let's begin with material deprivation. Material deprivation is simply the lack of money that can buy basic necessities. Give me examples of some basic necessities. Pause and have a think. Okay, basic necessities are like food, simple food. Okay, so material deprivation sociologists argue that poor diet causes deficiencies. As a result of having a vitamin C or vitamin E sort of deficiency, it will lead to ill health. As a result of ill health, the student will miss days of school. When they are missing days of school, they'll miss of valuable content which is needed for the exam. As a result, those students underperform within the exams. It is very important to see that I'm linking everything together. I just don't say one factor of material deprivation is poor diet, and this causes students to miss days of school. We need to have the why aspect as well. So it's very important to add that detail and finish it like a whole cycle so that you can get the full marks within your exam. And poor diet can be cured by FSM, which is free school meals. However, it's criticized by Flash Power, who argues that some students face a stigma that they don't want to say that they're on free school meals because they feel that they will be bullied. And this was a study that was conducted by a sociologist. Inadequate resources to facilities like books, the internet. So the national audit argues that this causes children to go to find some part-time jobs. As a result of them finding part-time jobs, they're unable to focus on their education, and it's very difficult to sift and sort themselves between education and work. Another factor is bad housing. Can you think of the link and the effect to education? Pause and have a think. Do something like what I've done for poor diet and inadequate resources. Okay, let's look at bad housing. Bad housing can be dampness, which can cause ill health, missing days of school, and hence underperforming within exams. Bad housing can be overcrowding, lack of concentration, so then they cannot study well in a good environment, peaceful environment, as a result, not doing well within their content. If you have some other things which are different to mine, I'd like to know them, so please comment them in the comment section. Next, we're looking at cultural deprivation. Cultural deprivation is the lack of norms and values. As a result, they face a clash between home and the outside world. So there are various different factors such as inadequate intellectual and linguistic skills, language codes, and Sharp's theory. Okay, I'll be going through each of them right now. Okay, so language codes. Bernstein argues that there are two types of language codes, elaborated and restricted. School uses elaborated speech codes. How can that be seen? Pause and have a think. Elaborate speech codes can be seen through teachers, books, textbooks. A few ways we can see how the elaborate speech code is the one that is used within education. Hubbs and Frenstein, a sociologist, argues that working class have had an elaborated speech code, so they did well because they could understand the language of the school, whilst Engelman and Aldous found out that the working class had a restricted speech code, and that speech code prevented them from doing well. As a result, we can argue that cultural deprivation and language codes could be a factor in which why working class students in particular who have a restricted speech code do not do well within their education. Number 2 is intellectual and linguistic skills. Okay, so this is simply the ability to link concepts with each other, solve problems within education and in daily life. As a result of them having higher intellectual and linguistic skills, they're able to fulfill these tasks more easily. The ways we individuals can achieve intellectual and linguistic skills could be through educational choice, and that again costs money. So the parents who are materially deprived will be unable to provide such facilities which allow them to develop these key skills. Douglas and Frenstein are sociologists and argued that the middle class do 2 times better in ability questions than the working class do. So as you can see that intellectual and linguistic skills has a huge effect on cultural deprivation. Heeman argues that working class parents do not have the time and knowledge which can be added to support this theory, and also Barry Sugarman, who argues that there are various different things like fatalism, collectivism, immediate gratification, and present time orientation. Let's take it step by step. Fatalism is what is in our fate. We just accept it. That, okay, we are working class, that's it. So that's what fatalism is. Collectivism is we will believe in working in groups as opposed to working individually. This is all working class mentality. Immediate gratification is where we want rewards right now. And present time orientation is a process in which we don't want to set up goals for ourselves, but we want it just like, yeah, this is it and this is it. So we don't set long term goals for the future. Cultural deprivation saw Starp. The main aim, she did a compensatory education, and the main aim there was to provide support for those children who are deprived from anything. So the various different things they did to tackle it would be programs such as Sesame Street. You can have a watch on that on Prime Video, Amazon, or you can find other ways in which you can watch this. It just help you to support your answer and just give a bit more detail. Intervention, some schools provide after school intervention or extra intervention. So these are the ways things were done in order to ensure that preschool children were not deprived and they don't face cultural deprivation. However, this policy was discontinued. Let's look at labeling. We get labeled in school daily. We can be labeled as, oh, you're lazy. You can be labeled as, oh, you're smart. So let's look at the detailed analysis of actually labeling. It's hateful, I know that too. Beck argues that the working class are labeled negatively, whilst the middle class are labeled positively. So we can see labeling by class there. June and Gaisley argues that middle class are put into higher sets, given higher papers, and labelled positively. As a result, they do well. However, what about the working class? Pause and have a think. Okay, so the working class, total opposite, they are put in lower sets, labelled negatively, lower tier papers. As a result, the lower class underperform. Once again, reinforcing that the ruling class are the ruling class, whilst the working class are the working class. Ray Riss talks about clowns and tigers and how teachers have their clowns and their tigers. The clowns sit primarily at the back of the classroom, whilst tigers are the ones like the teacher's pets who sit at the top of the class. So that's how the teacher could label, you could see a labeling in that way. Amelia argues that there's something known as ideal pupil. In middle class schools, an ideal pupil is simply by their grades. Their grades identify if they are an ideal pupil or not. Whereas in a working class scenario, an ideal pupil is identified if they are done what they're told. If they're told to tell a teacher to do something, they will do it. Hence, that teacher will classify it or even label them as an ideal student. Stephen Ball labeled based on their class again. Colin Lacey talks about this idea of self-fulfilment prophecy. Let me explain this in detail. So our behavior, for example, we are naughty, but actually we are not really naughty. So we get labeled by a teacher, oh, you are naughty, oh, you're naughty, oh, you're naughty, just because you're sitting with a peer who's naughty next to you, and then you are instantly labeled with them that, oh, you are naughty. And even if I'm not naughty at that particular point, when the label keeps on being repeated, I internalize the label. And when I internalize the label, it equals to self-fulfillment prophecy, where I become a label that I'm not actually am, but actually I become later on just because the label is repeated. So self-fulfillment prophecy, simple definition, is when students internalize the label that they have been given by their teacher. So as you can see a variety of different labels based on class, and gender as well, couldn't see some there, and about self-fulfillment prophecy, but it's mostly about class. So what we've learned, hopefully we've learned about deprivation, material, cultural, as well as labeling. In my next video, I will be looking at gender. Till then, revise, rest, test and repeat the content in this video and all of the videos to get an A star. And do not forget to love Canva because I downloaded the templates and made them off Canva. Do not forget to like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I've got very few subscribers, so I'd like to see some more there. And please feel free to comment, and thank you for all the comments that some people are willingly commenting. Thank you. And please press the bell icon to never miss my video. I want to tell you something else. I've opened my Instagram channel. It's known as Revision Hub Jazzy J. So please follow it. I'm trying to get like as many followers as I can, so then I can be able to put links, and we can have sessions, live sessions. We can do ask questions when it's closer to the exam. So I thought this would be a really good way in which you guys could learn, because most of teenagers love Instagram and they're mostly on it most of the time. So I thought this is a really good way in which I can develop the channel as well as help you guys out there. Okay, so you can, I think, scan this tag and you will get straight to the page. Till then, thank you so much for watching and stay tuned to Revision Hub with Jazzy J.